What's up? My name is Shivain and I welcome you all to my channel called Elemental Astrology. And today we talk about Venus the spouse. So let's talk about Venus, the fifth planet in the planetary sequence. And I believe most of you already know what Venus is all about. Venus is a female energy, first and foremost. Obviously, that represents wife in a man's chart. It's a it's an indicator of spouse as well in general. Basically, it means that it will represent the spouse for both female as well as male part of our society. Venus, along with the spouse, it also represents the kind of relationship that you will have. See, Venus is the significator of all the relationships that you have in your life. It represents how exactly you perceive a relationship, how exactly you value the relationship. So it makes it a pretty important planet for the overall well-being of a person. Venus is a Soumya Graha. It's a very soft planet, not as soft as Moon, but still very soft. Venus and Jupiter, these are the two most benefic planets that we have. So in the list of benefic planets, we have four in total. We have Jupiter, we have Mercury, we have Venus, and we have Moon. Mercury and Moon both are benefics, however, they have a neutral way of behaving. So, in case they have influence of a malefic, or they're sitting in a malefic sign, or if they're sitting with, the malefic planet, they have a tendency to behave malefic along with the malefics. However, Jupiter and Venus are the only two planets which actually behave benefic at all times. Doesn't matter if they are debilitated, doesn't matter if they are sitting in a malefic sign, in a cruel sign of Mars, Sun, or Saturn. They will still try to save, still try to bless the native wherever they sit. Venus, if I talk about it, represents all the good things in your life. Obviously, we love things that Venus has. We love courtship, we love relationships, we love marriage, the engagement. Uh, Basically, finding somebody to spend your life with, finding somebody to share your feelings with. That is Venus, and obviously, it's a lovely planet. And most of the queries that the people have whenever they talk about astrology, it actually comes to Venus. So it's $1 million question when somebody asks how exactly my spouse is going to be and what is my relationship is going to be if I have any. So that's $1 million question. Now Venus, along with all these, also represents a liquid money. It is the indicator of luxury in a man's life, in a person's life rather. It represents liquid money, it represents comfort. Venus represents the flow of money rather than the money itself. If you have a good Venus, let's say a person has Venus in 12th house, so that actually shows that such person will be very spendthrift. First of all, they will love to spend money on good things. If the Venus is sign placement wise is also good, then yes, they would love to spend money, but at the same time they will also be getting the money. It does not necessarily mean that they will be earning money themselves, but it means that they will definitely have money and they will love spending it, and they will spend it good also. So that is what Venus does. It does not represent accumulation, it represents spending away the things, both literally and figuratively. If I talk through elements, Venus is a liquid energy. Both Venus and Moon represents a liquid, but in a different form. Moon has the liquid in the form of water, which stays for a very long time. It stays visible as well, so it has a watery nature. But Venus has both watery as well as airy nature. So it represents liquid, which if comes into the contact of air, it actually converts into air. So perfumes can be a good example of it. Ether, the liquid which actually evaporates quickly into the air, that is also a good example of it. Now, this particular liquid we're talking about, Even though it evaporates, but it does not mean it gets destroyed. It actually transforms, and that's what Venus does. People do not really, I haven't heard a lot of people saying this, but Venus actually brings transformation in your life. It does every single time. So Venus is actually a planet of transformation as well, more than Saturn itself. Saturn is a transformation that comes in your life over a very long period of time. So does Jupiter's. But Venus is the planet that brings the transformation into a man's life very, very early in their childhood sometimes. Same goes for the woman as well. For women, Venus represents relationship. It represents the spouse's quality in general. If you want to see the spouse in a woman's chart, then it has to be checked through Jupiter. But overall, the quality of spouse, how exactly it is going to be, Venus shows that. What kind of relationship a woman or a man will have, that is also shown by Venus. Venus is a very Soumya Graha. It's a very soft planet. It is not as soft as Moon, which gets influenced very easily. Venus also can get influenced, but not as easily as Moon does. It is the sign both Venus and Jupiter are actually teachers. Jupiter teaches us the spiritual knowledge. Venus gives us the materialistic knowledge. With all the things that I've just explained, it is needless to say that Venus is a Rajasic planet. It believes in the quality of living and enjoying the life, and in doing so, it actually loves spending away the things that it has. Venus also represents devotion. So wherever Venus is, that is the place where you're most devoted. It represents sacrifice. So the thing which you might have heard in movies or TV shows, when you hear them saying that true love is letting go and then uh, hoping that it will come back to you. So that is actually not false. Venus actually represents that kind of true love. If you have an exalted Venus, chances are that you will not be able to receive uh, as much love as you give out to the people or that special person. So people with Venus, very good placement of Venus actually suffers a lot in their life. Reason being, they are full of love in their heart, and they try to give that love to other people. But right now, we live in a world wherein we have practical mentality. A lot of people are very selfish. So these people, if the moon is strong, they will definitely be able to survive. But if the moon is also weak, then in that case, these people suffer a lot. They suffer a lot of heartbreaks in their life, and not because of their own doing, but because they are too nice to other people. So that is what Venus does. Venus represents all the beautiful things in our life. So if a person who's dominated by Venus, that person will seek out all the beautiful things in their life. Now, Venus is friendly to Saturn and Mercury, so it actually is on the side of dark planets, which I told you earlier, dark side. Saturn, Venus, and Mercury, Rahu, Ketu. So these are the planets of dark. On the other hand, we have the planet of lights: Sun, Moon, Mars, and Jupiter. So yeah, Venus is the darker ally. It is most friendly to Saturn, so much so that in the Lagna of Saturn, when you have Capricorn Lagna and Aquarius Lagna, it becomes Yoga Karka, and vice versa. In the Lagna of Venus, like Libra and Taurus, Saturn becomes Yoga Karaka. So Yoga Karaka is basically a planet of giving uh, Raj Yoga in that particular kundli. But yes, overall Venus is a very good planet. It's a very important entity, and it represents a good chunk of life of ours. If we calculate it, if you focus, if you observe really close, you'll realize that Venus actually represents the second half of our life. I would say like almost second half of our life, because when you get married or when you get into a relationship, you try to look for the future and you try to set stage for the future to come. So it's a very important planet. Venus is completely opposite energy to Moon. lot of people have heard saying that Venus is opposite Mars, especially in Western astrology, but that is actually not true. Venus is completely opposite to the moon energy. Venus rules two signs. It rules the sign of Taurus, and it rules the sign of Libra. So the Taurian side of Venus is all about you know owning things. In my moon video, I had mentioned that Taurus is actually co-ruled by moon. So part of it represents accumulating stuff. So Venus also supports moon in that. So Taurian part of the Venus is all about accumulating, owning things. It loves to own extremely luxury vehicles. It loves to own extremely luxury jewelry, things which makes you look good. That is what the Taurus is all about. If you check the Kalpurush Kundli, second house is the eyes. Second house is also the face. You can say. So second house is where you look, where you show the look of your eyes and where exactly how exactly people look at you. So that is second house. On the other hand, we have the sign of Libra. Now, Libra is the sign of multiple things. There's different perception about it, but mostly it's a sign of knowledge because that is air sign. Secondly, it's a sign of trading. It's a sign of business. It's a sign of fair dealing, and that is where the Saturn gets exalted also. So that is a sign of fair dealing. That is a sign of maintaining a balance, wherein you give some, you get some. Libra is all about comfort and luxury as well. It's about trying to finding that perfect life. So Venus is not at all extremes. Venus believes in finding a perfect balance because that is the Mool Trigon sign of Venus, where it is the Pakka house of Venus. So when you have good Venus, chances are you'll be trying to become the jack of all trades and master of none. On the other hand, Jupiter tries to focus. See, Jupiter, Sun, Moon, and even Mars, these are all centralized energy. They're too much focused on one thing. That is the reason they represent the lighter side of the planets. When it comes to Saturn, Venus, and Mercury, those are not centralized planet. Those are actually decentralized planets. So when you talk about Venus, when you have a good Venus in your chart and you're actually dominated by Venus, you'll try to have each and everything in your life rather than having one thing in extreme. If they want to drink, they'll have small drinks in the evening for enjoyment. They'll not go crazy and start become an alcoholic. At the same time, if they want a good vehicle, they'll get a good vehicle, but they'll not go all out on buying that Mercedes or an Audi. So similarly, in all other aspects of life, a good Venus person will try to find balance, will try to become a jack of all trades, will try to make sure that equal interest is given, equal preference is given to all aspects of life. That is what Venus stands for. Venus does very good with Mars. If they are sitting together, that makes a person very passionate about things. A lot of people, I've heard a lot of people saying that Mars and Venus are completely opposite energy, but they are actually not. They actually go very well together. When you have Mars and Venus together, it shows that you'll be very passionate about one thing in your life which you really love, and you'll be willing to sacrifice anything for the achievement of that thing. So depending upon which sign it is in and how exactly the position is translating into the success, it can show a person who becomes a great achiever. It can also show a person who becomes a great obsessive person as well. So Venus is one of those planets that you are really passionate about. Venus gets exalted in the sign of Pisces. It gets debilitated in the sign of Virgo. Pisces is actually ruled by Jupiter and Virgo is actually ruled by Mercury. So this is quite ironic that Venus gets debilitated in the sign of a friendly planet and gets exalted in the sign of a neutral planet, a planet which is comparatively almost opposite to it. And the reason why Venus gets exalted in the sign of Pisces is because if you look at the Kundli of Kal Purush, it represents 12th house of that particular Kundli. And as I told you earlier in my video, at the starting, that Venus is all about spending things. So when the planet of luxury, goes into the 12th house, the person spends a lot on their luxury. It shows a healthy flow of money. They will keep on getting money from somewhere or the other. I mean, obviously, other planetary combinations have to be supporting, which most likely will be as well if the Venus is in 12th house in a good sign. But yeah, it does very good in 12th house. So there is a saying that Venus does very well for the planet, for the house from which it is sitting 12th. So wherever it is sitting, the 12th house from it will be gaining strength from it. It will be increasing the strength of that particular house. So if it sits in the 12th house, the 12th from 12th will become first house. So it is actually good for your Lagna if the Venus is sitting in the 12th house. Now, a lot of people have a confusion when it comes to the relationships, marriage, the spouse and Venus. Where exactly does it all fit? How exactly do these things fit in their own, in their own character, in their own places? Let me tell you how exactly it all translates into practical reality. So, in a Kundli, seventh house and seventh lord, these two things will show how exactly your relationship is going to be. On the other hand, what kind of spouse you will have, that is something that will be represented by Venus. So, let me give you an example for you to make for for you to understand easily. Let's say there is a person who has Aries ascendant, not Aries. Let's say there is a person who has Gemini ascendant, okay? And for Gemini ascendant, if you calculate, if you count, then Sagittarius will become seventh lord, okay? And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Now, let's say Jupiter goes to the second house of Cancer, where it got exalted and obviously it became powerful. So it shows that the relationship of the person will be very good. The marriage the person will go into, that will be very fruitful in terms of financially. And also Jupiter is a stable planet of stability, so it shows that it will be a long standing relationship, most likely scenario, obviously. On the other hand, let's say Venus is sitting in the 10th house, or Venus is sitting in the 4th house, debilitated in the 4th house. So what exactly shows that wife could be of insulting nature, wife could be of a very irritable nature. Now, that does not mean the relationship will not last long. There could be a scenario where the relationship is very long, but the nature of the spouse is not very good, and the person kind of suffers through it. I mean, maybe the person loves that person or not, but irrespective of that, the relationship lasts even if the spouse is not so nice. So that is the difference between having a Venus good and having a seventh house good. Seventh house shows how exactly the marriage is going to be, how stable, how fruitful, how happy married life is going to be. The seventh lord shows where exactly the marriage life will be linked to. So let's say seventh lord is in fourth house. So maybe the mother, through mother, you'll get to meet your spouse. Through mother, you'll get to have a marriage through the efforts of the mother. And how exactly the marriage is going to be, you have to check you have to check the seventh house. If there is a good aspect of Jupiter on it, if there's a good aspect of Mercury, Moon on it, then yes, it can be very good marriage, very fruitful, very stable and happy married life. On the other hand, if let's say malefic influence is there on the seventh house, and the marriage life can become troublesome. There can be a breakage as well if Mars is there or Ketu is there. I mean, obviously other combinations have to be checked, but I'm just telling you the basic meaning of these things. Let's say Venus is very comfortably sitting, so whichever person the candidate marries, the person whose kundli we are checking, so that person will be very nice, very good behavior, probably very decent person, but the relationship has for the relationship to last, the seventh house also has to be supported. That's when the both the things will go hand in hand. Okay, so I hope I'm able to clarify what exactly is the difference between having a good relationship and having a good spouse or good wife in a chart. So guys, this was my very small analysis of Venus, all about Venus the spouse. I hope you like the video. If you do, please like the video. Please subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more of such content in future. Thank you all and have a great day ahead. Bye bye.